So, Mr. Crypto, first week back at school. How's the voice?
It's rough. I have a cough drop right here that I've been utilizing in between takes. Whew, I forgot what it's like to talk for 8 hours a day.
Yeah, having to project as opposed to just using your technology to do it. I wonder with everybody returning to work, I say everyone, it's a very broad statement. A lot of people returning to work. I've seen a couple of casualties when it comes to my booktube friends or people out there who are running podcasts that were running podcasts through the quarantine. Now that they're returning and commuting and returning to back to life as it was before quarantine, I've noticed a few casualties. It's kind of sad to lose, hobby buddies, if you will.
Yeah, there's, time is a precious commodity, and trying to fit everything in between paying bills and adulting and kids and work and wives and girlfriends. Right. It's a lot, Well,
yeah. I mean, here's the thing. If you quit on me, I'll kill you, just so you know.
We've talked about this before, I think, off camera, right? That you make time for the things that you want to do, and this is something that we both say we want to continue doing, so we make a diligent effort to do this and playing games and stuff. So yeah, but you probably have to get in line, right, for killing me. take a number, buddy.
I'll tell you what, if you felt that way about me, you'd have to get in line behind my wife. So guys, we're doing both the wrap up and TBR today. We're going to move through this kind of quickly. So let's talk about some books today on the Codex Cantina, where I am Una.
And I am a back in school crypto. I forgot who I was. That's how my brain is mush.
Let's talk about our wrap-up system. Up at the top of the list, we have the Collect It, which means go out, spend some money. Hardback, paperback, collector's edition. Get this in your library because it's something that you're going to want to reread and pass on. Buy it. That is the second from the top of the list. The idea is go out, spend full price. If you're buying the paperback or something like that, if you're at the store, go ahead and pick it up because it's something that you're going to want to get in on as the people going to be talking about this book because it's good. Middle of the road, backlog it. Okay, now we're talking about kind of friends of the library sales or even just picking up for free from the library sometime when you're not sure what you want to read. This could be a good piece when you're in the mood for it.
Garage sale.
Now we're getting to skip it, okay? We think that there might be some problems or maybe some reasons that this wouldn't connect with some people. You're definitely going to want to do some research before checking it out. And then the ever rare trash it. We almost never have these, but we think that this is something that is just, it's going to not resonate with a lot of people. So this is something that make sure you do a sample or you check out that if it's appropriate for you before purchasing.
All right, we starting off pick of the month.
Oh, sure. Yeah, let's do pick of the month. What was your favorite thing of this month?
Oh, do you even have to ask? I guess you kind of have to do so we can make a video.
I mean, obviously, you love the man from Glengarry, right?
That is not going to be the pick of the month. The pick of the month is the opposite of that book, and it will be from Mrs. Clarice Lispector.
It was the hour of the star.
It was a star. It brined bright. It shined bright.
Yeah. At 77 pages, it felt like it. I didn't want it to end. That just keep going. Just no, don't stop, Clarice. Come on, you were in the groove. Let's keep doing this.
Yeah, I could. I don't know. I'm lost for words. I'm glad she wasn't. Oh, yeah. Read that one, please. Yeah. Do yourself a favor.
Now, the other stories that we read. Well, we started Sanctuary, or at least I have. I don't know if you have, but things have been crazy, right? I think you've had school starting up, so we're gonna have to trail that over a little bit. I apologize for not getting that done in August. We're terrible human beings. But we also are human beings and experiencing life kicking our butts. So that one's going to take a little bit for us to get to. But we did do The Man from Glengarry with Sean the Book Maniac, right?
Yes, sir. That was what
the best part of it was hanging out with Sean, talking about it.
The best part of it is page 112 and hanging out with Sean.
Yeah. We did not.
Otherwise,
that book. Yeah.
I'm gonna give it a hard skip it. Hard skip
definitely skip it. Wasn't really something that resonated with us. I don't think it withstood the test of time on various levels. I think there's parts that still agree, and I think that, I read from some Canadian lit students that they talked about how they saw a bit of themselves. It's a story about a man who's heading out west in Canada, right? So he saves the sedition of the country, bringing in British Columbia. It's a little far-fetched, a little Aaron Brockovich at some moments with, like a minister's wife going in and telling shareholders about minimum wage. It was something.
It's a mess. Yeah. It is for a very small niche group. Hard skip it. It is for somebody that is very into Canadian history, lore, legend, and how the west of Canada became the west of Canada. So other than that, probably your average person is not going to get a lot out of it.
So for short stories, we had Women in Translation Month, where we chose a ton of short stories from Clarice Lispector, Yuko Tsushima, Taiko Kono, Yoko Ogawa, Banana Yoshimoto. And we also did James Joyce, A Painful Case. And our patron read of the month selection was Magnolia Flower, given to us. What are some of the standouts you'd say from this group?
Magnolia Flower, absolutely loved it. So good. I love all the different themes that you're able to go through there. In the box, for such a short story, it gets you to start thinking about the interactions of people, and the tale of the House of Physics is unique. It's something that I like how it took something that was so simple and made it unique. Those were kind of some of the highlights for me.
Yeah, I loved Magnolia Flower, a story that took this fable element of a brook and a river and juxtaposed that with kind of some of the evolution of moving from slavery to Reconstruction and how we treated and looked at each other from a perspective of racism, shadism, colorism, that sort of thing. So definitely enjoyed that one. And I'm going to go with the old classic too. I think a standout was A Painful Case. I think old Jimmy Joyce, he does it again. And this is actually one of my favorite from the collections, that concept of loneliness. I don't know, maybe because I'm an introvert. I don't know if you've read James Joyce and that concept of paralysis. As an introvert, when you're hit with a lot of different options, sometimes you can kind of freeze up a little bit in a sense of just getting that analysis paralysis. And I feel that from these characters in this piece. So Mr. Duffy, just freezing up when it came to the woman, it hit me in a way that I think it connected with me, where I could see a little bit of myself, I think, in a sense. So those two were definitely kind of some of the standouts for me.
I did have a question, because I didn't read the other Lispector story that you did with Lezlie. Would you rank that a collect it or a buy it? Because I felt like you liked it, but it wasn't as good as maybe some of her other stuff. I mean, coming off the high of the Hour of the Star, I mean, it's kind of hard to top that. So do you think that influenced you negatively, that you were riding that high and you gave it too much or maybe not enough because you were comparing it against herself?
No, I
watched your video today.
I would rate that one a buy it, but I don't think there's necessarily anything there's not anything to hold against it. And we've seen, 3-page stories 4-page stories that hit collecteds, right? It's not unheard of. I think this one needed a little bit more on the bones, meat on the bones, the chicken, to get it to that level. And it could have gotten there. I think it just needed a bit more. But I think where it pulled back, I think actually made the story work. It just didn't make that emotional impact on me as a result.
Okay. I can see that now. Just a little bit of clarity I watched the video today, so thank you. All right.
So for what's coming up in the future, before we get into our September TBR, we want to warn you guys. We got 2 big pieces coming up. And I know some people, have you guys heard of this girl named Christy Lewis? Or Leslie Smith? They're kind of really freaking awesome people. There's the rumor on the street, all right? Hey, tell everybody.
I'm sure they have.
We're going to be reading Anna Karenina, as well as The Idiot, coming up. So if those are 2 books that you've had your eye on of checking out, this basically October through November, December, January, we're going to be hitting those books. So make sure if you're interested in those two, you stick around and check those out with us. But let's talk about what we're doing in September. So on the books, we obviously need to finish Sanctuary for Faulkner in August, happening in September. Kind of awkward.
Yeah, it happens.
Yeah, well, we have a lot of names participating this year. Too many to list, but Brian, Alan are hosting. I know Noah, Hannah, Jack, they've all kind of talked about it a little bit. Carrie's put out some videos. So I'll leave a link down below to anyone who Brian has mentioned if you're participating in Faulkner in August.
Sounds like everybody is. It's awesome. I love it.
I can't wait to do Kafka on the Shore by Haruki Murakami, because it's also kind of like my first buddy read with Jack from the Rambling Raconteur. I talk about Jack all the time on this channel because he's amazing. Go check out his channel. But he does tons of short stories. He does tons of novels. He's a voracious reader, and he's just so fun to talk about books with. I can't wait to do this one with him, and then we'll have our chat afterwards on that one.
Am I doing that one?
Yeah, you keep. Well, I mean, that's up to you.
Okay.
That's your choice as to whether you have the time. This is part of the problem. Is time is an issue, right?
If it's on the list, I'm doing it.
Okay, so we got Kafka on the Shore on the list, right?
Okay.
We've got Sanctuary by William Faulkner on the list.
Got to finish that. Good.
Now, Backburn, again, no pressure for this one. I think I'm only on chapter 4. Like, I'm just kind of casually listening to it. And for those that are loyal followers of this channel, know why it's on the list. But we're doing I Am a Cat by Natsume Soseki. Again, no pressure on that one. I think I would love to do some type of a video. I don't know what it's going to be, but it's definitely a therapeutic read for me right now. I don't know if you're going to be reading that one, but those are the 3 that I'm kind of flirting with over the month of September.
Yeah, for me, I'm on the fence about it. You know, having Sanctuary and Kafka on the Shore, throwing in a third novel. We'll see if things go well. Maybe this next week or so, second week back to school, I'll hopefully jump on board that one to kind of show my support, to help you through, maybe some reminiscing in hard times and reflecting back. So, yeah. I hope to be there to support you.
I think you're going to bail. That's what I think.
Oh, so that's what we call in school negative reinforcement or reverse psychology.
Okay, well,
you won't do it.
Happens.
You won't do it. You
won't
see
do what happens. I'm just saying. More important than that, though, because that is a very me thing. And if you do decide to join, obviously, totally cool. But I gotta tease you. I do. That's my job, right? Like literally, job down here. Like if you look at this job title right here, it says my responsibility is crypto torturing. There's nothing I can do about it. But
do you take lessons from my wife?
And last but not least, we have Jurassic Park, which is a read-along hosted by Danny at Spinelli Speaks. She does kind of an annual fall read. I think we kind of forced her into that because it was so much fun doing Crime and Punishment last year.
Oh, yeah. Now, are you going to listen to the music as you read?
Dun, 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 dun. Actually, sometimes when I read Star Wars, like I hear the dun, 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 like I'll hear the music in my head, and like when the X-wings, like they're like, lock the S-foils into attack position, like my mind will picture the scene, but I am listening to it. It'll probably be like that for Jurassic Park as well. But again, so many people participating. I will leave some links down below because there are so many names. I'll leave a link to Danny's. I think I've seen some announcement videos from Laura. I think I've seen an announcement video from Victoria. I'll put links to all of their channels down below. If you're in for Jurassic Park, join us.
And I've never read it before, and you have, so this is another good exchange we can have, because I like being the student and you guiding me through these amazing novels. So I'm excited.
You got to remember this. Okay, this is an important book for one reason. One, it was the book that got me into reading. Okay?
Last year?
I read it in 1990 or 91, whenever it came out.
That's so long ago.
When I was in like either 3rd or 4th grade, my teacher just had it. I just grabbed it, and it is super horrific. She probably didn't read it because it's super graphic and horrific. I learned the word eviscerate from that book, I believe. But that got me into reading. I just enjoyed and developed a passion after that. So this is an important book, but I ain't guiding nothing. I mean, I didn't read it in like, a couple decades now.
So the last time you read this, most of our viewers were not even born, and their parents were little kids.
It's quite possible some of our viewers weren't born. It's quite possible some of ours were well into their, adulting years and such. You never know. Coming up in September to October, kind of, I think, unusual for people who haven't celebrated this before. Because usually, there's months, right? You have Black History Month, right? You have Japanese June, or Jane Austen July, if you will. Faulkner in August, right? We have National Hispanic Heritage Month. And that starts on September 15th and ends on October 15th. So it starts in the middle of September, ends in the middle of October, 15th to 15th, mostly because of Independence Days. A lot of Latin American countries had their Independence Day on the 15th and around that time as well. So it's a month that I'm going to make sure that I schedule, because we've got a promise on Japanese literature, on Russian literature, on Black author literature, as well as Latin literature. Those are kind of the main 4 focuses that we've been having for this year, and I'm going to continue that with this month. So we've got Agua Viva by Clarice Lispector, which is that's an interesting one, because I'm told there's no plot. There's absolutely nothing that happens in the story. It's
Did anybody pull it off, it'll be her, right?
It's literally painting with words, is how it's been described to me. It's a straight, emotional, evocative experience. So you guys are welcome to check that out. We'll probably put that on the literary discourse for the read of the month, because we're looking for one there. But again, this isn't a novel. This isn't a narrative. I'm told that this is just a straight experiential, kind of interesting out there read. So that's going to be something that we're going to check out, I think, for National Hispanic Heritage Month, along with Clara by Roberto Bologna, The Library of Babel by our boy Jorge Luis Borges. And in October, we're going to go, we're going to go into more Cortazar, Quiroga, and Machado de Assis. So we've got a bunch of Latin area type of authors that we're going to be exploring this month. We got a bunch of other short stories too. And I'm going to list out the options. Going back to school, we'll figure out what we need to cut, what's more important. But here's what's on the menu. Let's decide what we're going to order, what we'll bite off, what's too much to chew. Yeah. Right?
Give me an appetizer. Hit me.
We got Hell Screen by Ryunosuke Akutagawa.
Okay.
We've got
Akutagawa, can't go wrong there.
We got The Comet by WEB DuBois. That is speculative Afrofuturism, I think is what it's considered. It's a very early in Afrofuturism writing, before it was like a category, where it's pitched to me as sci-fi fantasy. Now, I've officially read it at this point. It is... I don't know if I would pitch it as sci-fi fantasy. He is totally a science fiction writer. He writes a ton of essays. I know him more for his essays than his short stories. I'm just kind of now checking out his short stories. I would classify this more in the literary fiction side, but let's have that talk maybe when we get to that one. I'm gonna be doing The Drone King by Kurt Vonnegut with Lezlie from the Nerdy Narrative. We had
I feel betrayed.
You should. We had a special recording session. The reason why I did that one is because it's about men's rights, and I thought it'd be appropriate to have a female perspective on that, as opposed to 2 dudes talking about it. So there was a design behind that one too.
Fair enough.
But to make up for it, I have the I Stand Here Ironing by Tillie Olsen as you return to school.
Gotta iron my dress shirts. Hey, I do the ironing, not my wife.
I know. That's what I stand here ironing. It's very appropriate for you right now as you return to
ironing
work.
Board's right in that room over there.
Now, we've already recorded our talk on this one. This is kind of like a floater popping over from last month, and that's The Dancing Girl of Izu by Yasunari Kawabata, which is a very famous story from a very famous Japanese author. Part of our continuing education on Japanese literature this year. We'll have that video from our talk that we recorded up here soon.
All right. Sounds like we got a great set coming up. I hope that I can join through most of that, because a lot of it sounds good. Might have to drop a few things here or there, but
you're totally dropping I Am a Cat, just so you know.
I know. I feel terrible too. I mean, it's like 30 hours on Audible. Mm-hmm. And I got Anna Karenina, The Idiot, Sanctuary, Kafka on the Shore, all these short stories, grading to start doing.
Yeah, you gotta be real to yourself. That's also one where I've heard that the chapters can kind of be like short stories, so it's not necessarily a strong central narrative so much as a collection of like short stories, like a short story cycle almost. We'll see. Like I said, I've started the first 4 chapters, so I'm still kind of withholding judgment a little bit. So it's only like 2 hours in of the 30 hours or whatever it is. But we'll see what happens with drive time and when I have time to listen to it. So we'll see.
Okay. All right. Fair enough. Maybe if you finish it and I'm like working on it on the side, you could tell me, hey, do just these chapters and let's see how it influences our conversation and how it maybe reflects upon me reading just snippets of short stories, not the entire thing.
Yeah.
That could be something unique and fun to try.
We'll see. I mean, a lot depends. Because when we read, Sanshiro, you have to read Sanshiro for like that hypervillain talk, right?
Yeah, that's
true. Or even the art conversation. I wonder if this will have the hypervillain talk, something along those lines where like there's just a chapter that's just so brilliant that you're just like, oh my gosh, I'm so glad I read that. I'll let you know.
Well, in lieu of like
wade through it.
In lieu of like a page 112, we could do a specific chapter out of the book or something as an offshoot. Maybe we'll see. Throw it out there.
It's worth pointing out that it was serialized. So he did release it in parts, in a sense, for how it was published as well.
All right. So definitely a possibility then. If I don't get the whole thing, I can still help support you in your time of mourning and still get something out of it.
I feel so abandoned.
Oh, Lord. I quit. I'm done.
All
Come
right,
kill me.
guys. Well, then you can join all the other channels out there that in the return to work. Guys, we post videos every Monday and Thursday. If you want to have a good time, hang out with us, come check us out. End of the night. This is what happens to words at the end of the night.
Check me out.
We post videos every Monday and Thursday. We construct sentences sometimes. Other times it's just a gobbledygook. Una out.
Say it again. It'll be funny. Say it again.
What?
The third time.
Say what? A gobbledygook?
We post videos every Monday and Thursday.
Gosh, what did I say earlier? I said Monday and Wednesday. Like I just
the
changed our
last
schedule
video. That
on
was
the fly.
hilarious.
When I did that, were you just like, oh my gosh, are we posting Wednesdays now? Or did you know it was a mistake instantly?
Well, no, I was like, wait a minute. Well, we do. He does say sometimes we post videos 2 to 3 days a week, and you get that bonus video. But he usually does the bonus video on Tuesdays, but maybe moving bonus videos to Wednesdays. I am so confused right now.
I'm gonna start competing with other channels out there. Like Lezlie posts her videos like at 9 o'clock Monday, Wednesday, Friday. I'm gonna switch our schedule. We're posting videos every Monday, Wednesday, Friday at 9 a.m.
We're posting videos 7 days a week. All right, guys, end this.
All right, Una out. Thank you, guys.
Peace.